Hello, everybody. Tonight we are live with Mary. Mary is a metabolic body reset star, and I'm going to be looking around here. Um, she has done phenomenal on the program. We just did a little short comparison today of starting to finish, and the biggest takeaway I got, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes, but the biggest takeaway I got from that chart that I sent was that it's still off after a period of time. And we will definitely talk about that. So welcome, everybody. If you have any questions, please type them into the Facebook comment section. We'll try to answer them when we get a chance. But we have a lot of ground to cover. So welcome, Mary. This is your second time. You're becoming a Facebook regular.
Between my business and going live for that right now. And then we did this once, maybe after my first round?
It was a while back. Yeah, it was a while back. But
and I'm running this marathon, this sort of like marathon.
And you're doing fantastic. So let me paint the picture a little bit. Mary started with the Metabolic Body Reset in September of 2018. I remember the conversation I had with you. You were questioning me because if my memory was, you had tried some other programs in the past. And
that's kind of an understatement.
Tell us a little bit about those. How's that?
That's a wild understatement. Certainly cynical, certainly at my maximum frustration. And, you rest yourself. I mean, when I do something, obviously I'm going to try my best at it. But unfortunately, how many times do you listen to a commercial and about weight loss and you're like, oh, this changed me forever and la, la, la. And I'd be like, yeah, been there, done it, tried it, didn't work. So, skepticism is once again an understatement. And I said to David, well, I guess in some strange minimizing way, I was like, well, it's 42 days. It's 6 weeks of my life. You can do anything for 40 days, right? Well, I did. And it was actually pretty easy from a standpoint of knowing what to do. It wasn't real in depth regarding counting points and doing all this stuff. It's very cut and dry, very measured out. Just adjusting to a new way of eating and realizing that so much of what I do is emotional eating. So it all comes from stress and you're not even aware that you're doing it. So to have a routine, which I love a schedule. It definitely benefited me because I'm that personality. Like I have to have a plan. So I just followed the plan. And David was wonderful help all the way throughout it. Wonderful support when I was stuck or when I was struggling to understand. And it's crazy because even as I've done this over the past year and a half, there are times when I still am frustrated and then I have to look back and be like, wow, don't be frustrated with this week. Look at the big picture because we all want immediate gratification. I know I want it gone right now. I don't want to do anything to get there. Just give it to me and let me do it and finish it.
Well, one of the toughest things for people to remember is it didn't come overnight either.
No.
So, it just so tell us a little bit about what it was like prior to starting the Metabolic Body Reset, because I remember you talking about some joint pains, things like that.
I was having serious issues with my knee, my back, just moving in general. I was probably the heaviest I've been in a long time. And as I've gotten older, I've always exercised. I've always tried to work out, mostly for my peace of mind, my sanity, but it was never for the benefit of losing weight. For me, just the ability to, they always say, well, it's not the numbers on the scale. Yeah, well, it was for me and it was how I felt. And for me, I didn't feel good. and I knew I was miserable, and I desperately needed help. I needed something that I could believe in, something that would give me hope for moving forward and getting older. And as we all know, the older you get, the harder it is to lose. So, and the fact that this was 6 weeks, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do 6 weeks and try it. And it was referred to me by my friend, BJ, who couldn't speak highly enough of it. And I thank God every day that she did, because she knows I've always struggled. So it's definitely been a journey, and I'm still on it. I'm not there yet, and I'm not in a hurry. I mean, of course, I want to be there tomorrow, but I also have learned a lot about my body and how it reacts over the course of 6 weeks, and stress is a big thing. So if I just segue to that for a second, this whole situation for my business being closed during this pandemic, it was a godsend, because it was the one thing I did have control over. You know what I knew I had to do for me. Everything else was a big old question mark, but I knew what I had to do. And for me, this is a routine now. It is my way of life. I don't want to go back there. I feel good on the foods that we eat on the program. Do I veer off the program occasionally? Absolutely. Not usually during the program, but on maintenance.
Yep.
My comfort zone is in the foods that I'm used to eating on the program. So when I go off, I always look to see how it measures up the next day. I will tell you real quickly, the last time I finished, I was so excited because I thought, I'm going to try one of those cauliflower crust pizzas. And I text David and I go, I'm really nervous. I need something different. I just needed a taste of something different. I wanted that pizza thing. And surprisingly, my body thought, okay, that's pretty cool. I love rice cauliflower anyhow. So I knew when I finished this round, I was like, I cannot wait to order my cauliflower veggie.
Well, you touched on a number of things in what you were saying. I remember the conversation because one of the hallmarks of the program is during the 6-week losing phase, don't exercise. And you were just like, wait, what? Like, because usually the routine is ramp up the exercise, decrease the calories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that puts an added stressor on the body, and you get into the whole added cortisol, added body fat, and tougher to lose the weight. So, but the other thing you said was there were, the 2 phases of the program. There's a losing phase, which is 42 days, and there's a maintenance phase, which is another 4 weeks where we make sure everything is normalizing. And then there is the period after that. But and you touched on that a little bit. And could you explain a little further the period after maintenance, where it's you've learned a lifestyle, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know where, like, you've become more in tune with your body, is what I'm hearing you say.
Definitely. I know it's like, I mean, regardless, I still get nervous every morning when I step on the scale, just because it's always a crapshoot for that. And God knows the female body does all kinds of crazy things on any particular day. So it's a wonderful routine for me. I can't say a bad day destroys my day, a bad way and just, deters me, but it just, makes me a little more conscientious of what it is I'm doing that day. That phase following, so there's the losing phase, which I love because it's comfort zone. I know what I have to do. I prep my foods. I make it easy. I grab it. I go to work. It's no thought.
And the losing phase isn't shakes, isn't prepackaged meals. It's like
no, this is all
vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah, there is no shenanigans, no shakes, no nothing. It's all honest to God real food. The maintenance phase for me is just adding more of the same food back in, adding greater quantities of that food, and then seeing how your body adjusts. And then after that, you kind of dabble off, or you go off into the scary waters to see what impacts. For me, I know it's carbs. I mean, carbs are definitely a trigger for me. They make my body hurt. And I love them. There's no doubt about it. I love them. And when I say carbs, I shouldn't be so general as that, because everything that I've ever tried, like if it has been keto, oh my gosh, the things I've tried, keto and Atkins and Weight Watchers and Nutrisystem. I mean, if it's out there, I have probably tried it. But this is real food. Um, it's a new way of life for me. It's a way that I feel comfortable. And like I said, I'm not done yet. Um, I just moved my son into an apartment, which is on a second floor. And all I could think about was hauling these boxes and whatnot up that flight of stairs, up and down, and add 60 pounds to every load that I did was like, oh my gosh, you pick it up and you don't even realize it. I remember when I used to watch Biggest Loser, and they put their original weight back on their back and they'd have to try to move that weight. And I'd be like, you can't even comprehend it. And there's days when I've had bad days and I say to David, I don't know what I'm doing wrong or whatever. And he'll put me back on the path. And then I have to give myself a pep talk and say, hey, this isn't, this isn't where you started. Look how far you've come. Every time I complete a round, and I've done, I want to say over a year and a half, I've probably done 5 rounds.
I think I counted four, but
So 4 rounds. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's my health. It's my health. I mean, do I feel better? I mean, we've been wearing yoga pants obviously so much right now that I put on a pair of jeans today and they were baggy. And I'm like, okay, I like that.
It's a nice feeling to go closet
You don't
shopping.
even realize. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But the other programs you tried in the past, what would be like, why don't you think you were successful with those, or why weren't they successful for you?
Not sustainable. Not sustainable. The minute you add carbs back in, the minute, you add, you go off of keto, I find my body adjusts very quickly to any program. So it doesn't always help. Like, so if I did keto, it might work for 2 weeks and then I was stalemate. So anything that I've done, except for this, has actually worked in the very beginning. And by the third week, nothing. And then the frustration builds and the stress builds. And I'm like, what am I doing here? But this was something that I saw consistent progress on. And I just put my faith in it. I just gave it a my all and said, go for it. I'm not going to lie. The hardest part was not having my glass of wine or taking alcohol out of my life for 6 weeks. Yeah. I mean, it's 6 weeks. And then it's so funny. You become kind of addicted to feeling better, and you get addicted to seeing the numbers go down. So it's like, do I really want it? I don't know. But, everything in moderation. That's the great thing about this, is it is sustainability. And if you're constantly monitoring after the fact, then you always know that you need to stop, hold back, and get yourself back on track. And that is maintenance, because so many times you don't weigh yourself forever, and then you're like, oh my God, I gained 20 pounds. Like, what? So if you're diligent about it and you are paying attention to it every day, I know that sounds obnoxious to like weigh yourself every day, but it's interesting to see how your body reacts. And sometimes my scale, it doesn't reflect anything for 2 days. So it's really hard to know what exactly is a trigger and what's not.
And everybody's a little different. And I'm answering those chat messages daily from people, who will say, well, I ate perfect yesterday and I only lost, 0.2 of a pound. And the response is, you still lost 0.2 of a pound yesterday. You lost a half a pound the day before. The average weight loss in the US in a week is 1 pound. So the fact that you're down, 0.7 of a pound or a pound and 1/10 in a week, or in a couple of days is very good. But the sustainability.
We get crazy. At the beginning, you're dropping, and then it kind of tapers off a little bit, and you're like, wait a minute, I still want to lose at that same rate and speed. And as I've lost weight, obviously, my first round, I think what did I lose? 25 pounds, David, I think my very first
Yep.
round. But it's taken me consistent rounds because I do the roller coaster. So my first round, I lost the weight, and then in between, you kind of fall off the fall off the program a little bit. So I always know there's a little increase, and then I go back down again. So my weight loss chart literally looks like a roller coaster. Um, but I never want it to get back up. I just wanted to keep going down. And so if it's an average straight line, I'm good with that. But we all know that that's not how our body works.
That's
It's not
no. There's
realistic.
never. It's a stair stepping process or the roller coaster, just like you said. It's never that straight down. But um, you said it right there. But one of the things you said was, the roller coaster and back up a little bit. Mary never came even close to where she started from on that roller coaster. I mean, it was down. There was a little hill, not a big hill, and then
Yeah.
down more, a little hill, which is it's good because you want to stabilize at right around where you finish the 42 days. So let me ask you this question: Who you said BJ told you about the metabolic body reset, but what were some of the changes that you have noticed to your body throughout this program?
Everything from, this is such a stupid one, but anybody, I mean, I've always had a smaller upper body and a bigger lower body. So even crossing my legs, it's the craziest thing, but crossing my legs is not good for my back. I know, David, but at the same time, it it's that little stuff that you go, what? Like you don't even realize. Putting on boots, that were really tight on your calves before. It's little stuff that you can't even comprehend. Everybody always talks about my chicken neck. They're like, your neck's so tiny. And I'm like, tiny neck, tiny wrists, and those things. But just my overall frame. And I've told you, I think I told you, and this is probably slightly embarrassing. I was laying down in bed a couple of weeks ago, and I must have put my hands on my chest, like on my stomach, and I was like, "Oh my God, those are my rib bones!" Like
You did
it's
say that, yes.
stomach stuff, honest to gosh. But all of a sudden, you're aware of it, and you're like, "What?" Just it's the little things that you aren't aware of when you don't have it, but when you do have it, you're like, "Hey, how come I never did that before?" So
Well, I'm going to
it's all
point
those
out.
little things.
So you said crossing your legs, and I just was pulling it up on my screen. Each thigh is 4.25 inches smaller than when you started. So we're talking 8.5 inches gone there. I
It
mean,
makes you measure yourself, and let me tell you what. there is no there is no cheating on that.
but it does. A lot of times somebody will say,
He's like, take all your measurements, and I'm like, oh God, take a picture, oh God, and then he's like, okay, now look at it again, and I never took pictures before, and we've done Facebook lives with blockers lately, and I always say to Nikki, you better not get me from behind, or anything just to try to. You just are surprised that it is the same. It is the same person. I still don't, in my head, I don't know that my head's caught up with my body. Like I still don't know that I see myself a whole lot different. And like I said, until I put those jeans on today, I was like, oh, well, this is good.
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, so you notice the change in the pain in the knees. You notice the change in being able to cross your legs. Um,
sleep's better. It's
awesome.
kind of like a high. I don't know what it is. I think I get excited because I know that I'm in a good place. I know what my day is, and I always have a ton more energy getting started on the program. And just being able to sleep through the night is really, really nice. You wake up kind of refreshed. I don't know, everything seems more manageable. Like it's not as overwhelming. And whether that's just a balance of structure and control. And I know that during this pandemic, that has been a big deal for me. And if I can touch just for a second and tell everybody, I normally work, but even so, I usually take time and I prep my foods. I stick them in the freezer in their portion bags. And when I go to work, all I have to do is pull that bag out. I mean, no matter what it is, if I come home and I'm hungry, it's ready. It's not like I have to cook a meal. So convenience and ease is fantastic for me. And there are some foods, and I don't mind repeating the same food. Sometimes I get creative, but most of the time, if I'm just hungry, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for my foods, my fruit, my. I love that there's fruit on this, by the way, and I love the vegetables. There's lots of free foods, which you can eat lots of if you're still hungry. And the protein part, you know, there's there's lots of options for you in that too. So you're not restricted. I'm just a little bit boring in that area where I'm comfortable. I can jazz it up with different spices or whatever, but a lot of times it's ground beef or chicken or steak or something. So
And it becomes a
last night I did.
good.
No, I was say last night I did like I made my family like steak and cheese quesadillas. I just didn't do the quesadilla. I did the steak with the lettuce and tomatoes and some stuff. I just kind of made it my own. But I'm kind of like on maintenance right now. So I did add a little bit of cheese to it. And I just made it mine. And then I had my fruit and it's good.
Well, and have you noticed, because I've had this reported from other clients, that so like when you add something back in, whether it be cheese or yogurt or milk or whatever it may be, uh, your body tells you whether it'll accept that or not? Like, whether it be by the scale or how you feel?
Yeah, I generally still stay away from carbs. I don't do a whole lot of dairy anyhow, but sometimes it doesn't agree with me. But if it's not a ton of cheese, it's not like I'm sitting down eating
Oh,
macaroni and
yeah.
cheese. Like I wanted to sprinkle some cheese on something. I'm not afraid to do that. I find it's mostly the white grains and stuff like that. Like if I were to sit down and eat pasta, I'm perfectly happy with spaghetti squash and sauce, which I think is delicious. Um, it's just kind of training your mindset, and it's worth it feeling better. And now I said to David, I'm anxious because I'm probably about 15 pounds from a goal that I set I don't know how many years ago. And that would get me down probably 75 pounds total. Um, and I said to him this time when I started, I don't know, I said, I don't want to be over ambitious. Like, I think I know my body and what I can expect if I follow it and I do it correctly. And between the two of us, we were just about right. Um, so I'm eager to get started on another round and hopefully be able to come pretty darn close, if not to that goal on my next round. I don't expect anymore to lose 25 pounds on it because I'm not in that place. But if I can lose 15 to 20, I'm real happy.
Be
Pick
in
a
the
plum.
ultimate place.
I would be in a place I haven't been in a really long time. And this year I turned the big 50, so I am all about trying to feel better and healthy.
Yep. And that's so important right now. And we were talking about it the other day when I was talking with another client, because all the uh, comorbidity factors involved with this pandemic revolve around weight, high blood pressure, blood sugars, and yeah. So it's extremely important, but it's not real. I mean, you've said it. I'm just going to sum it up. You tell me if I'm correct. It's not just about the weight. It's about how you feel overall.
More importantly, even so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely losing
Oh,
weight is a big deal, but feeling better, just going up and down the stairs. I mean, when I say when you have to do something physical and you're hauling all that around, you don't even realize it until maybe you don't have it, and all of a sudden you catch yourself realizing you've just run groceries up and down the stairs to your son's apartment 3 times, and you're okay. You're not dying inside. So
awesome.
even just walk up without the knee pain. Honestly, my knees were really giving me issues, and from years of jogging, running, whatever you want to call it, and I just beat the heck out of myself. So I was I'm not big at putting myself out there on this, and so I would never do this if I didn't thoroughly think it was a wonderful program, and I love that it is real food. It's not like you have to go and have your own subscription to something. It's not. You shop in the same grocery store. I will tell you guys that when I do shop in the grocery store, it's amazing how much more fresh food you put in your cart than the processed or frozen food. Not that I don't resort to frozen vegetables sometimes, but I make mass quantities. I stick it in bags in the freezer and I can change it up that way.
So it sounds like you like the food.
I do like the food to the point where my family is like, seriously, again? I'm like, yep.
And
Rice, cauliflower, squash, you name it. And you can jazz it up. You can put cinnamon on it or whatever the case might be.
yeah, we're big on hot sauce in our house.
Mm.
Hot sauce on everything. So, for me.
Spicy's good.
So it also sounds like it's easy to prepare your week of your foods. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, that's awesome. So how was
Well, if you don't have it ready, what do they say? If you fail to plan to fail.
Yep.
That.
Yeah. I always try to have and to tell people, have some cucumbers, have some celery, have some of the free vegetables easily accessible, just to grab for a snack. Because let me explain what we're talking about. You get some protein, you get some vegetables, you get some fruit, but then there's a whole category of other vegetables you can have as much of as you want.
Love cucumbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've become a salt junkie. Before I ever did this program, I wasn't a big person on half the time. I think when I was getting older, I used that no salt or whatever. And he's like, don't be worried about spices and stuff. And I found I loved salt. I can make a bowl of cucumbers with salt and vinegar, and I know it's not a potato chip, but it has that same kind of crunch factor, and it's got that like tangy, savory kind of thing. So I love it.
I do cucumbers with salsa and salt. Sliced up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So the losing phase you've gone through, the maintenance phase you've gone through, how was the support that you got throughout the program?
Awesome. I mean, I never felt alone. I never was worried to report in, and I was always encouraged by the fact that, if I was struggling, you always had an answer, to get me there. I'm not the best user of Facebook. There's an amazing Facebook group of other clients all celebrating each other's victories or sharing recipes, and it is an incredible resource. I'm just not as good at it. And this time, so when you lose 5 pounds, you get to ring a bell, and you do this on the Facebook page. But when I did it, then the next day my weight went back up like 2 pounds, and I'm like, I am not ringing that bell anymore. It's a jinx. I'm not doing it. So I kind of just kept it to myself. And as I would share it with my 17-year-old who had been injured last year, so he's been trying to watch his foods as well. And I would put my weight on the app, and I wouldn't even say it out loud. This is how crazy I am. I wouldn't say it out loud. I'd just show it to him on my phone, and he's like, Mom, are you serious? He's like, oh my gosh. So it was the unspoken progress, but the support in the app is fantastic, and David is fantastic. And trust me, there have been many times when I'd be like, what is happening? Why does this happen? And he would always give me facts and advice, and it's worked. I know. How many times you get to hear, you're right, David, you were right.
Well, luckily, it's a lot of the same. You just don't see the other clients having the same questions, same issues. But thank you for that. It's, Mary is one who gets a message from me routinely of go and post that bell. Go and post that bell. Because it is, everybody in the group knows exactly what it means when they see a bell ringing. And and it's not this page. It's not, it's a private Facebook group. It's only people who've done the program or are doing the program. So it's not, they all know exactly where you've been and where you're trying to go to. So, but that awesome, I pointed out to Mary this morning, in the past year and a half, her BMI, body mass index, has come down 10 points, which is phenomenal for your health overall. And, we talked about thigh inches, but your hips, we just talked about 11.75 inches. And I sent my son to get, see if I can get that is 11.75 inches. That's a huge difference. That's fantastic. So I hope that came across the right.
It sure did. I get it. I get it.
And 9.25 from your abdomen. I mean, those numbers are fantastic. And sometimes it's not, when you're looking at the numbers, you're saying, oh, okay, I lost 20 pounds or I lost 30 pounds or 40 or 50. But when you think about it as almost a foot gone from your frame, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. So
always hard to see in your when other people comment. And like I said, because we've been wearing stretchy pants and stuff, really good to tell. But when other people comment and say, "Oh my gosh," that's always good for the morale.
Are you getting those compliments?
I am. I had a good friend in the industry who we had on Facebook Live last week, and he called me. He goes, "I need to ask you a question." He goes, "Have you lost weight?" I'm trying to be very subtle, like, is it taboo to even ask that? And I said, I have. Still working at it, work in progress, but now is now. I always tell my kids, best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but today's the next best day. So
absolutely.
Start now.
So, in summation, to wrap it all up, like what's your favorite thing about the Metabolic Body Reset?
My favorite thing, other than you, I would say it's the ease of it. It's give me a formula, and if it works, it works. Like, to me, that's easy. I want easy and I want real. So this is easy and real, and it works. Like, if you just do it and follow the science. If you need any tweaking in the program, that's why I say David first, because he will monitor everything that you're doing, and he has suggestions in case you do hit that wall. I know how many times that I've done a program in the past and you hit that wall and you have nobody to say, what am I doing wrong, or what's going on, or
you're not doing anything wrong. Just happens.
Yeah, just have options. And he knows little tricks and tweaks so that you can jumpstart it or do whatever needs to be done. Because, like I said, my body gets accustomed and adjusted, and then I'm not ready to quit. So I'm always amazed that every time I've done the program, it does continue to work, which I can't say about anything else ever that I've done. If I've done a program once and then I go back to it, it has never worked the same way it did the first time. So I guess that's my favorite thing about it, is that it's easy and it works. I mean, it's easy. Awesome. And I'm busy. I'm a busy person.
Mary owns her own business, and if anybody owns their own business out there, it's a 24/7 job. It does not turn off. Yeah. So stress levels are there, but the hallmark of the program is the 6-week losing phase. Then you move into the maintenance phase, where we're really monitoring your return to adding some things back in, increasing quantities, and then you've learned the skills to be able to go out, go to a wedding, go to a party, have some things, but then realize the next day that what you need to do to get yourself back on track, get yourself back into that sustainable pattern. Um, is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, I've been asking questions, and you've been great with it.
I feel like I'm at the risk of sounding like every infomercial out there, honest to gosh. I mean, but when I say I have tried everything, I tried something very similar to this prior to um it was and they were I mean, it was such an investment. It was far more expensive than this program and guaranteed results, et cetera, et cetera. And once I hit maintenance phase, it was weeks and I started to gain the weight all back. And so when I say I drilled David as to why this would be any different, because I was tired of being disappointed. Um,
It was a long conversation. I do remember.
it was a long conversation when BJ said, just take the call. Just call him, talk to him, if you don't think it's for you, then don't give it a go. But I am pretty disciplined. I have pretty good willpower. Um, I just needed an answer. I just needed to know how to do it. And this is after years of trying different nutritions and everything. So this works for me, and I'm going to keep going. And with his guidance and this program, I hope to eventually be able to reach that goal and be healthy and feel better and not. I won't say I'm excited to buy a bathing suit this year, but I'm happy to have to buy a new one. Let's leave it at that.
You know,
It's nice.
those are huge accomplishments. I mean, you. I mean, the Mary wouldn't send me pictures. You would not send me pictures.
I didn't want to see them myself.
And because I asked for before day you start and then the day you finish the 42 days, so we can put them side by side and show you the difference. Because sometimes you don't, because you're used to seeing yourself in a mirror on a daily basis, and just I still see myself as a 25-year-old college kid, and
And then you see a picture and you're like, well,
then I
who the
see my
hell's that?
picture and my hairline's going back and everything. So, um, so the one morning I woke up and Mary sent me pictures side by side. She did the side by side comparison, which is what the one I posted for this. And that was,
And that was a while ago too. That wasn't even.
that is because I almost pulled one off your Facebook Live and put it up beside it, but I was like, yeah. But
That's all great.
it's the comparisons, and Mary's done fantastic with it. It's you see the results, and the other keystone to the program is it's not shakes, it's not prepackaged foods. It's you go to the grocery store, you buy what you want that day, you have what you want to eat. So it's very sustainable, and that's our goal, is to make it sustainable so that you're not.
I mean, this is a year and a half later since the first time, I started this. So the fact that I'm still eating a lot of that way, um, it is my comfort zone, and I am so glad that in this year and a half, I mean, I'm just a few ounces shy of 60 pounds total, and 60 pounds is a lot more than I had ever anticipated on this, and that's why I want to keep going.
And you
I'm
touched
not
on.
going to be crazy about this, like I'm not looking to be. I just want to be comfortable. I just want to be comfortable in my skin. That's really all there is, and not feel like I'm kind of a big 5'0".
The one of the things Mary mentioned when she was talking to us a minute ago was getting on a call with me. We do that for anybody. It's on our website, metabolicbodyreset.com. It's a button, schedule a call with me. There's no obligation. And we just talk about the program and see if it's the right fit for you. And I answer your questions about the program and, how it's different from other programs that you've done, and, why we do certain things a little differently. So that offers out there to anybody. Now is a great time. We're going to start another group coming up soon, because holidays are always a good time. Memorial Day, July 4th. Yeah.
When you asked me what my favorite part of the program was I should have said the load days. It was the very beginning. But then every round I do, I'm like, I don't want to do load days because then I know it's going up. And yeah, I know it's coming down, but I don't want to see that.
So there's
I
the
should have
other
said load days.
there's the other little twist that I usually have to explain in detail to people. On days 1 and 2 of the program, I will ask you to eat more than you probably eat in a day, on a day, because the goal is to eat a lot. And then we couple some other, intermittent fasting and supervised fasting into it with your meals, and really get your body burning fat at that point. But that's everybody. Anybody who's done more than one round. The first round, yes, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go that. The second round, I always get messages. Do I really have to do this again? Like,
well, I think you also change your load days. I remember like maybe it was my second round and I took my son to a hockey game and I ordered like loaded fries and nachos, and I never eat like that. That's why I was always so frustrated. I'm like, why can't I lose weight? I don't eat badly. And he turned, he saw these loaded nachos and fries that I had. He's like, what are you doing? I go, it's my load day. He goes, no, you never eat like that. I'm like, I know, and it's kind of gross, isn't it? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But this time, if you remember, first of all, I will say there is never a good time to start this. There are always going to be events in your life. When I talked to David about this, I had a jewelry show at the end of February. I started on March 1st, I think, while I was in Colorado at a jewelry show. And he's like, well, you can do your load days. I literally packed myself cashews and took a bag of cashews because when you're traveling, I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to eat like when and what. But that weekend, I pretty much ate and did whatever I wanted to. And by the time you're done with your first 2 load days, you are so thankful to just get back to normal food. You're like, okay, I can do this. But there's no good time to start. I mean, you can think about all of the things in your life that you have to plan around, events, etc. And you try to find any 6 weeks in your life where there's not something going on. It's really just going to take you to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this 6 weeks and go from there, because otherwise there really isn't. It's like, when's a good time to have kids? I don't. When's a good time to get a puppy? Not in February. Right? So just start.
Well, it goes back to that tree analogy. Best time was yesterday. The other best time, the next best time is today. And that's we start groups, but we start people individually who want to get started rather than wait till we get a group formed up. It's all individualized, and that's the other plus of the program. So,
and every time I don't think there's something new to learn about myself or my body or how my body responds, and every time I've gone through changes and I see something different happening each time, and I'm like, David, I don't remember this happening, or I'll be like, yep, here we go. Like, seriously, why does this happen?
Or I'll shoot you the message. What happened?
Yeah, that happened. I'm like, I have no idea. Sometimes I just don't know. Sometimes it's just being a girl.
No, and guys have the same thing. There's no rhyme or reason. What?
Stress is a huge culprit. Stress is a huge culprit. In my normal life, I think I even told you about that this time. Like, normally when I'm on the program, I don't lose. Like, you would think you go to work and you have your regulated eating and you would lose more weight during the week than on the weekends. But for me, my stress level was higher during the week. So I didn't lose as much weight during the week. And then it would come to the weekend and finally I would lose weight. And I'm like, this is so backwards to me. Like, I don't understand. He said it has to be the stress. And he was 100% right. So this time it's been a little different because I'm stressed pretty much 24/7. So it's really just adjusting to whatever your routine is. And he takes a lot of interest in that, which does help me. Like I said, I never had anybody to talk to about it before. Like when I did hit a roadblock. So it's worth a call. It's worth finding out. When David asked me to do this, I'm like, you don't really want to talk to me again. Like, we did this already, but after doing it, a couple rounds and still committed to wanting to do it, I think that's probably the best testimony I can give.
David, put this up here again. That's why I wanted you to do it. That's in 60 pounds.
Yeah, don't say it out loud.
You said it out
If my
loud.
scale goes up tomorrow, Mr. Bennett, you know what?
That is phenomenal, and you need to just own it, and you did. That's why I wanted you on again, because you've done phenomenal, and you completely understand how it's sustainable and why it's working for the long term. And that's great. And that's, like Mary said, like I said, jump on a call with us. I'll put the link in the comments or in the introduction to this video. Just, you can go schedule a 20-minute call with me. No obligation. It's free. We'll talk about the program. We'll see if it's the right fit. We've done some financing options to make it more available to people during this time instead of payment. You can go to our website. Everything is listed there, the cost, everything. There's your old interview from a year or so ago on there. and I believe your son's interview is on there as well. So,
Josh did it as well.
yep.
Yeah.
So
it's a discipline, and he's a lot better when he was doing it. He's still working on putting his life together, like getting an apartment and all that stuff. So like I said, there's never a great time, but I mean, if it's something that you can entertain, and if you have questions, I mean, reach out to me on Facebook or whatever. I'm happy. I mean, this is the real me. This is it. This is not an infomercial. This is not a paid advertisement. This is hardcore. I'm very thankful for this program.
Well, I'm thankful that you are enjoying it, and you did so phenomenally well. And we're going to get you there to that last little bit.
Out loud.
So it's going to come. It's going to come. Again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And is there, I already asked you once, but is there anything else you'd like to add before I click the end button?
No, just everybody stay healthy out there and take care of yourself. I guess that's,
Yep.
What do they say when the oxygen masks are up? You always put yours on first and then assist to the others. So I can't take care of my family if I'm not taking care of me, and can't take care of my business or any of the things that I need to take care of, including my dogs who are very hungry.
Absolutely.
But no, I love the program, and like I said, if you have questions, I'm happy to ask, to answer them. So, and David is a wonderful support. So the program came recommended to me, and I just thank DJ, because without her, knowing my heartache and my struggles, I don't know, it's something that you ever approach somebody with, but I'm certainly on the end of, I'm not selling anything. I'm just telling you it works. So.
Thank you very much for your time. And I'll be checking in the morning.
Of course you will. I just keep drinking my water. Lots of water, everybody. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Thank you very much for your time,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Keep up the good work. And
Anya, you got to go through this with me again.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll be talking to you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. I'll even do pictures this time.
Take care. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, David.